Welcome back to Troopn Adventures. On today's episode, we head to the south of the west coast to do one of New Zealand's most remote private access four-wheel drive tracks. There's river crossings, mud, hill climbs and plenty of breakages to keep you all entertained.
We have dragged some insane builds along with us this time. We've got Ray in his Unimog Axle 1HD FT powered FJ, Kieran in his BMW M57 engine swap FJ, powered by Chol Axles with Dave as passenger, Shane and Steph from Coastal Off-Road in their heavily modified 80 series, Belle and Kez with their LS1 swap short wheelbase GQ, and Alfie, aka the Foreign Fijian, in his 80 series which is built to wheel.
Watch along as we test our vehicle's limits in part 1 of this two-part series. You pumped the body out?
The whole cab's widened. Yeah, the window screen's not short. Got to be back to the river by lunchtime tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to have about 200 head of cattle going down the track.
With that being said, we set off for our first obstacle, a long river crossing known to be a deep one. It has claimed a number of vehicles over the years, but today's water levels are rather low, so it's smooth sailing.
This track will weave in and out of native west coast forests and braided riverbeds, heading for the coastline.
Getting the big troop through almost any west coast track requires a fair bit of admin when it comes to trees.
We found a perfect clearing to park up and make a feed, have a stretch and even shed some layers as the day was warming up.
After some lunch and a much needed stretch of the legs, we set back off into the forest in hopes to reach the coastline. First into the bog is Ray. Boy does he make everything look easy. Running Unimog portal axles and 38-inch traps, he just idles through.
Run the content!
First to get stuck is Bell and Kez in the Alice GQ. Their truck has more than enough power, but the smaller tyres weren't getting through that thick mud easily.
Second down is Shane from Coastal Off-Road. Again, being on 35s, just didn't quite have the clearance for this one.
It's all brown now. Oh, leaning, boy. Yeah, okay. Oh, you took the tree with you. Oh, shit. Stop.
Inside this bush was a half-cut log sticking outwards, which ended up stoving in the trooper's door. Gotta love a battle scar, right?
Owie!
We hit another nasty link as we continue the journey, thankfully with Alfie to guide the trooper.
Coming back. You know, bring that down. Yeah, going. There you go.
After taking on a few too many trees, the bolts ended up pulling through the awning plate, and with a narrow track full of trees, we threw it on top of Alfie's roof, making it an easy fix for later, and carried on.
Next up is the part of the track we've all been waiting for. New Zealand's own gun shop. A section of track so steep most people don't attempt, and almost all others opt to winch down. I volunteered to go first. Having done it once before, I have some idea of what I'm in for. With Ray and Kieran lowering me down in their utes, all my trust is in them and the spotter, as I will have my engine off.
It goes straight, Andrew. Engine off? Is that on yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, turn the reeds back on.
point here, it damn near felt like I was standing upright with the brake pedal.
With all of us being lowered down the bank by the pulley, it leaves right at the top on his own. To get himself down, he uses Toy Mog's front winch to gently lower himself down backwards.
Everyone's just collecting the nerves. Panel damage on the Troopy. Oh. Yeah, anyone's got a door, hit me up. Warning, delete. Good times.
From here, it was just a short drive to the beach, where we camped outside of a privately owned hut. Time on our side, we decided to check out the views and head down to the beach.
After a hard day of wheeling, we soaked up the last of the scenery and headed to bed early, ready for another day of it tomorrow. On the road nice and early, got to beat the cattleman out. He's moving the cattle at 12, so got to get back out to Haas before then. You! Kieran's going to be up first up. He's going to
a system from Ray, and then you'll see what happens from there.
Shane and I headed over in the Troopy to help the others get up. As we got to the other side, we both heard a snap and the steering tension disappeared while driving over a large rock. Instantly thinking tie rod end. Pain in the ass, but no
Come
biggie.
over to fucking assist and tell myself I'm real dude.
This left us, well, me, in a bit of a situation. With heavy rain forecast for the next day, leaving the Troopy at the bottom of the climb just wasn't an option. With Bell's run the winch pulling the rear of the Troopy, Shane from Coastal Off-Road grabs my gumboot, strips to his jocks, ready to act as my steering as we tried to reposition for the climb.
Stop! I want to let the pure better and drive the lever. Drive the lever now, bro. Drive the lever. Stop! Yeah, keep going. Just let the touch out, though. No, stop! Stop!
At this point, things weren't looking hopeful. After many failed attempts, Shane repositions a rock in hopes it's enough to keep it straight.
Shane? Yep. Righto, Kieran and Dave, can you please now? Keep going, Dave, and Kieran, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. That way, grip. What that tree? What that tree?
Obviously, with the situation being a little worse than a tie rod end, we limped the Troopy back to a campsite to make a plan. With Ray having a spare 80 series steering box on his trailer back where we started from, we get stuck into getting my broken one out and making the correct adjustments to suit the forward swung pitman arm.
Bell and Keys also have been bringing their Starling, so while the boys were into the work, I set out to organise the correct steering box replacement.
The white one.
Or something like that, you can poke up the end and beat it from out here.
Series box, buddy.
Yeah. Forwards, backwards.
The temporary steering box was in, and now it was time to have a potluck dinner shared with the crew. And kept it separate.
It's a new morning. All hands on deck yesterday to put an 80 series steering box in the Troopy. So we've got some kind of turning, no steering down there. And it's on the path. Because it has to be a forward bounce at one. Obviously, unless I want to turn left to turn right. So
Today was no different than yesterday, with the Troopy's height making it difficult to manoeuvre around fallen trees. Griff took a few things off the roof, and then we were good to go.
After a while of cruising along the track, a loose limiting strap ended up caught in the radius arm mount between the diff, effectively giving me no up travel, making it feel rough as. Nothing a hammer couldn't fix though. A mix of not being able to see over my bonnet and probably a bit of nerves, I ended up on a pretty tragic line. That's my bloody pumpkin there.
Wouldn't it?
My heart stopped.
After the bog holes, we stopped at the same spot as the day before for a bit of lunch.
Oh, it was very hot. Very hot.
Stopping at the first creek to give the boilie boys a bit of a rinse off before continuing to the last river crossing and then driving out of here. After cruising to our next campsite, we all rip into our own repairs, from unblocking radiators to full-blown have you beer steering box replacements. It's all on tonight, all in hopes we're ready for another day of it tomorrow.
With the sun gone, the final repairs are finished. The Troopy has steering once more, and everyone is looking forward to driving a new Troop. Well, that's it for part 1. Make sure to stay tuned for our next Troopn Adventures.